Welcome back, guys, to the Brunson Podcast. I have an awesome episode ahead here for you. I interviewed one of my good friends, Calvin Kelly. This was a super impromptu interview. I was at his home in Utah, and I said, "Hey, let's just sit down. I want to talk to you. I want to ask you questions, and I want my audience to know just the way your brain ticks and how you've been able to do these crazy things." So here's a little background. I met Calvin about a year ago in Guatemala when I was traveling down there. And right away, he just, I don't know, he had this kind of this energy about him that was just super unique. And I thought, oh, yeah, he's a really cool guy. And I didn't know quite what the energy was, but I started to get to know him better. And I found that he had just done crazy things in his life. He learned Spanish in Virginia, serving an LDS mission, came back, lived in Guatemala, and if I remember correctly, he just up and flew off one day to, I don't know if it was Southeast Asia first. I think it might have been Southeast Asia. He goes and spends, I don't know, like a year there or something. And then, comes back. And the next thing he's like, I think I'm going to go to Israel. Flies off to Israel. While he's at each one of these places, he learned Spanish, I believe, Portuguese, Arabic, something like, I don't remember how it's even pronounced, Bahasa or something, Indonesian, whatever they speak in Bali. And it's crazy because we'll be talking to random people and all of a sudden he just switches another language. I'm like, how on earth, and his Spanish is amazing. And so he's learned all these different languages. He's lived in, I think, about 10 different countries. He's just really, really taken charge of his life. And on top of that, he's just a good guy. And I'm not just saying that, but genuinely, he's just someone who has really deep character, really been very, very deliberate about the path of his life. Whenever the path diverged in a yellow wood, he took the harder path, and just really, he's not gone with the flow. He's not a guy who I would say in any way is mainstream, in any way has gone with the flow, in any way has just accepted that life kind of happens. He has been so specific about writing his own story. The path he put himself on was mentoring youth and adults to have powerful experiences while traveling, which is like kind of crazy. I'm like, that's like the job he's chosen for his life. I mean, you think about it. I mean, most people are like, that seems way too risky. I don't even know, how do you even start? And he has no idea, but he's figured it out. He's created an amazing program called U School X, which I highly recommend everyone looks into. If you're going traveling anywhere, this is the guy to talk to first. Ask him about it. Ask him how you can have a travel experience that will change you and change your perspective. He has amazing systems in place. And as well as just like practical advice on how to travel. I mean, he's very, very good at it. So without further ado, I'm gonna play this next segment here of my interview with him. But I just want to give you all a little background on the kind of guy that he is. And this is just a small sample. We didn't have a lot of time during the interview. I mean, this is less than 20 minutes long. So we were hustling too, and we actually went way further than went way longer than we were supposed to. But I highly recommend looking into his channel as well. I'm going to, I think it's uschoolx.com. He's just got amazing content. So without further ado, my interview with Calvin Kelly. Okay, so welcome back to the Brunson Podcast. I'm here with Calvin Kelly, who is this longtime friend. Met him in Guatemala. So I went there when I guess it was almost exactly a year ago. I probably met you almost exactly a year ago.
Wow.
Yeah, seriously.
Feels like a lot longer than that.
Met him playing soccer. He's got this crazy long hair. He's out there slaying it with the ball, trying to keep up with all the Guatemalans. Seriously, the first time I met you, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. He's been all over the world. He's developed a program called U School X, which is, from what I understand, about self-improvement, how you can take travel and optimize it in a way that creates growth and personal development. Is that right? I guess, how would you describe it?
No, exactly, yeah. U School X comes from the concept of, U School is like self-education. Mm-hmm. You're in charge of your education. I mean, you can go to school, you can have mentors, people that teach you and feed you information, but it's you that's in charge of your own education. Mm-hmm. And I started thinking, what are the like biggest moments in my life when I felt like when I learned the biggest lessons, when the lesson just really hit me and dug deep. I was like, oh, it's experiences.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, actually something you did.
You learn from experiences. Yeah. It's simple. I mean, everybody knows that. I mean, there's country songs about it. There's this country song that's like, I don't remember the Gettysburg Address, and I don't remember like all that Spanish, but the one speech in high school I'll never forget is the moment that my girlfriend's dad sat me down and like, or the girl he was going out on a date with.
Yeah,
he was like,
yeah, yeah.
cleaning my gun. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be cleaning my gun. Yeah.
Yeah. So we learn through experiences. And so it's kind of U School X is that idea of discovering yourself through experiences, and to take it one step further, travel.
Yeah. Why
travel? It gets you outside of your comfort zone. I mean, you can the fastest way to get outside of your comfort zone, like completely out, is to take away all of your surroundings, everything that's familiar, and just boop, drop yourself somewhere. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, it's me against the world right now. I got to figure this out. And that's kind of my story. That's how I started with all this. And
but because you've done this how many times now? Have you done solo traveling or been to a new place totally alone?
I mean, it's probably about 10 times.
Awesome, man. That's crazy.
I'm at 27 countries now, but I'd say that
and you've lived in 27 countries more or less, right?
I wouldn't say that. It's been about like 20. A couple of those are just like stay there for a day.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of those are like Guatemala, a couple years, Indonesia, like Southeast Asia, a year, Brazil, 2 months. So yeah, like I like to get a little bit of time in the spot to.
Okay, and again, I got to go on a little soapbox here, but I've noticed this about you as well, that a lot of people that keep the tally, I've been to 13 countries now. I'm like, you were on a cruise. That was 6 of them. Like, I know for me, I'm like, okay, that's cool, but that's not like, you don't know the country.
Yeah.
If you pop in and go to a tourist port, you don't know the country. But you actually, I mean, and there's people, and for those that are listening home, you have to understand this about Calvin, that he doesn't just like go to like the local dance club and be like, oh yeah, I've had an authentic like local experience. He makes friends with people. Like, okay, you're Brazil. You made friends with that guy. You were telling me about that.
I did, yeah.
What happened there?
So I was in Peru, took a boat down the Amazon to get to Brazil.
Wait, I didn't know this.
You didn't know this?
You took a boat from Peru through the Amazon?
I took a boat through Peru.
Is that legal?
It's legal. No, it's legal. If you go through Iquitos, there's a boat that'll take you to, it's like this tri-border between Peru and Brazil and Colombia. And so it's like all 3 borders kind of converge right there, and it's just this water town. And you can, just shoot right down the Amazon River.
Okay, was that like insane, or was it just cool?
It was amazing. It was cool.
Okay, but it's not like the Amazon that we think of in the movies.
Oh,
probably.
No. I mean, depending on what movie you watch.
Yeah, but like you're not seeing like alligators on the side.
No,
and,
no.
Anacondas swimming through the water.
it was pretty peaceful. Just, I mean, we were on like a little speedboat, and you can take different kinds of boats. You can take a slower one that'll take like 7 days to get down it.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, man.
It's really cool. It's an experience.
I would guess it was like highly protected and stuff. Amazon.
I mean, it is. There's lots of projects on it, but anyways, like there's a way to get through it. So
down the Amazon you go.
I wanted to learn Portuguese. I was like, I'm so close to Brazil right now. I'm just gonna go, and I took a boat down, and while I was in Manaus, I met this guy and his wife, who we were actually. So I was on a.
Wait, and how did you meet him though? Was it like previous connection?
Kind of. So he works for doTERRA. My parents work for doTERRA.
Okay.
And my dad actually came down. So I came through Peru down to Brazil, and then my dad was coming down for a little like retreat thing, a Brazilian retreat. And so we all got together with like because doTERRA was like budding in Brazil. It was like actually exploding. And so it was.
And your parents were involved a lot in that?
Not really, no.
Okay, but they just had a few connections because
they had a couple connections through it, yeah. So we didn't really know anybody. We just knew the people that had kind of opened Brazil to doTERRA. And so my dad comes down, and we just hung out for a couple days at this retreat thing. And I started talking to everybody that was at that retreat, just like all these.
Which is like classic Calvin.
I was
you guys don't know Calvin. If he gets in a room full of people, he is like meeting everybody.
Yeah, I kind of brag about this, but I had 14 different people invited me to come stay with them.
Really?
I did.
Wait, after that one retreat thing?
During that retreat, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, no, I have to tell everyone this. Okay, so he came to my cousin's wedding because my cousin also came to Guatemala with me, and literally the whole time there, I would like, and now I can talk about it freely. I'm like, oh yeah, so Calvin did this. Like, oh yeah, how was Calvin, by the way? I'm like, how do you even know him? Oh, he was at the wedding. I'm like, yeah, but so was like 500 people. Oh yeah, he talked to me, and then my mother was like, oh yeah, he talked to me for a while too. I mean, he literally talked to like all my family. All seem to know him. They're like all buddies now. So I was like, it's kind of your gift. It really is like though, like that's kind of your gift. I think people like you can connect with people so quickly in the sense that you're authentic. I mean, it's cool. It's really an amazing skill.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
So yeah. 13 people.
Yeah. So it was 13 or 14. But I pretty much said like, I'm in Brazil. I'm just gonna be hostel hopping, and because I want to learn Portuguese. And everybody was like, that is so cool. Like, why don't you just come live with me? Like, why hostel hop? Just come live with me. You know. Yeah. So that was kind of a part of it. I had a plan. You know, I was totally content to live at hostels. I mean, it's just a couple day retreat, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm meeting lots of people, but I'm totally content to just finish this and start hostel hopping. Yeah. And I wasn't going to take a language class. My plan was just to live on the street or like learn Portuguese on the street. Yeah. And
just awesome, by the way.
Yeah. I want to do that now. I still want to do it, but dang it, I made all those connections and
screwed up plans.
Screwed up my plans, and this guy was like, dude, just come live with me. I'll teach you how to surf. I'm an MMA fighter or jiu-jitsu fighter trainer.
He was a trainer.
He was a trainer, yeah.
Well, heck, that's who I need to talk to.
Yeah, and come to Brazil.
Yeah, I'm gonna be asking you for some. I want like half of those 13 numbers. I'm like, hey, so
of course,
I'm a good friend of Calvin's.
Glean off of my
piggybacking.
No, totally. I love connecting people that have similar interests. Dude, I forgot what the question was. What were we talking about? So
going back to how you met this guy. Yeah.
How I met him and how I lived with him. Yeah. So I don't really like going to all the tourist attractions.
Right.
It's fun. Right. To see it. You know, like.
But again, it goes back to that point of like, what's the point of travel?
What's the point of travel? Yeah. What's the point of travel? Yeah. And so living with that guy, his name's Leo. Shout out to Leo and Chris, his wife. Just my favorite people ever. And we lived together, and they taught me Portuguese and taught me how to surf. And we just had this tiny little community at their house. And I mean, we became such tight friends. Oh, cool. Pretty much family.
Wait, is that the one you call your Brazil mom?
I do. Yeah,
that's the fun. Okay, yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Yep. You've mentioned that before. You're like, oh yeah, my Brazil mom was telling me this. And I'm like, who's the Brazil mom?
Brazil mom. It was this lady that I met.
And then she was talking to Peru mom. And yeah.
So that's the whole point of travel to me is those experiences that go way beyond seeing something. Yeah. And getting into it and really exploring and experimenting and like having that experience.
Yeah. Okay, so no, and this is I think, how much time have we been going here for?
We've been going for 292 beats, which I don't even know how much that is in time.
I don't know, maybe like 10 minutes or something? Okay,
maybe,
so
yeah.
I really want to hit this home because...
No, dude, you nailed it. 9 minutes and 50 seconds.
Man, I'm good.
But you were off by 10 seconds.
Room to improve.
10 minutes right there.
We'll just pause the podcast.
Okay, stop.
Now that I'm right.
Okay, it's been 10 minutes. Brenson was right. No, keep going.
So the thing, I want to drill this home. So the people that are listening, like the whole point of the Brenson podcast is my journey to develop skills. You are probably the guy that if I were to go to anyone and say, hey, if you want to know how to like learn languages and to go travel and have a meaningful travel experience, which by the way, to everyone that's listening, I'm telling you, this is huge, right? It was a life-changing experience for me. We had a podcast, and Calvin interviewed me. And if you guys can listen, I'll have maybe you share the link with me. But you guys need to listen to it because I talk about my experience. I'm telling you, you have to travel. You need to learn other languages. Not because it's like a cool thing to do and it's a cool party trick. We're like, oh yeah, I speak Chinese. Like, that's not the reason why, but it's because of that growth we're talking about. I mean, it's I'm not joking. It is a game changer. It is a thing that will totally change where you end up in life for the better. And I can't stress it enough how important I think it is to travel, to learn languages. Every language you learn is opening a whole new world to you that you could not have even imagined. You can't even, like, learning Russian for me, you don't understand a Russian babushka until you speak Russian. I promise you, I swear on my life, you cannot possibly understand what it means to be chewed out by an old Russian lady, a babushka, like a grandma, right? It does not come the same in English. Or when they give you like they call them like the babushka blessing. It's like when an old Russian lady, she's like, I bless you with health. They do this. I'm not joking. It's like, may you have health. Maybe you have 30 children. I mean, it's the funny, and they all do the same thing. And it's like this thing where they just kind of wish you the best. It's adorable. I love it.
That's cool.
But anyways, yeah. So for those that are like, okay, I want to like incorporate learning a language. I want to do traveling. Where do you start? Like, what's the path that they can follow so they can, have that kind of result of change and opening these doors?
You're asking me?
I'm asking you. Yes.
You're asking me?
Yeah.
What can they do?
Yeah. Where do they start? I think you're the expert in this.
I mean, they have the answers. We all have the answers inside of us.
Yeah.
That we need. You have the capabilities. You can develop the confidence that you need, and do it yourself. I mean,
in other words, do you just say just go and do it? Like,
it's as simple as it is. You can just go do it. Once you realize that, I mean, you went to Guatemala. You just decided. You're like, I'm gonna go to Guatemala. I don't think I'll ever learn Spanish if I don't do it right now. I'm gonna go to Guatemala. I'm gonna do it. Mm-hmm. And you got that into your mind, and you were the one that made it happen.
Okay, you get asked this all the time. Money, right? Traveling's expensive. What's your answer when people ask you?
My answer has changed because first I'll be like, okay, so what do you do? And like I'll try and like help them figure out how they can make money online,
Yeah.
But then I started realizing people don't take my advice.
Yeah.
When I have tons of ideas, dude. My head is full of ideas
I can
on how
testify
to make money
to this.
online.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
It's full. But if I share it with you, it's my idea being preached onto you, and it's not your mission. It's not your why. And it's like that idea that Calvin told me once, like, oh yeah, that was kind of a good idea, but I don't really believe it.
Yeah.
So my answer is, do you want to know what my answer is now?
Yeah.
My answer is, you can find the way. You'll find the way. Like, it sounds like, I thought I was going to listen to Calvin and he was going to tell me how to make money online, and like I thought he had this great idea, but really, I mean, if you have to bootstrap it, you'll bootstrap it.
Yeah.
Like you can.
And it's really not that expensive.
It's not that expensive.
And it doesn't have to be. And I think everyone's like, oh, it's like at least $5,000 to go anywhere.
Dude, I spent $600 in Brazil.
Wait, over how long? You said 2 months?
2 months. Okay, don't take that as like a threshold. Like, I mean, that was
Calvin's saying for $600 you can live in 2 months
for
in Brazil.
$600.
The official number, yeah.
Okay, that was because I learned about forgotten currencies.
Okay, you've mentioned this to me, and we've talked about it, but people at home don't. Tell me about this. This is actually really cool. Go ahead.
Forgotten currencies. You can get things for not just money. I mean, you can make trades. So number one is skills. Mm-hmm. You can trade skills. For example, I didn't pay rent at Leo's house. I'm like eternally grateful for them just, inviting me in the first place.
Yeah.
But then when I got there, they were like, yeah, like, we'll teach you Portuguese and how to surf, and you can just teach us a little bit about business skills, and you can just be our friend and like make a video for us. Yeah. And I was like, I can do that. Like, I for sure can do that. And I would like take them out to dinner and stuff, and I would do their dishes. So
that's huge.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, and then like, and a quick note on that, like that is such a real thing that people are anxious to give someone an amazing experience. They love that.
Oh, totally.
But what they want is gratitude and service in return.
Exactly.
And then they're just thrilled
money.
With it.
It's a little hollow.
Yeah, slipping them a $100 bill. Hey, thanks for like letting me stay at your house for.
Then all of a sudden, the experience and everything that they gave you is kind of just like
just meaningless.
Is that all it was worth?
I could not agree more with that. That is so powerful.
Yeah.
Forgotten currencies.
Service, gratitude, skills.
Yeah.
There's a lot of forgotten currencies, but we just don't think about them. We think that, and we use them. We use them in our lives, but we don't realize that they can be actual currencies that you can travel for a lot cheaper. So,
well, and a quick plug on this. He mentions his videography. I mean, whatever it is for you, there's 1,000 ways.
Oh,
there's 1,000 ways that you can develop a skill set. Maybe it's you go take a course on how to teach English. Maybe you take a course on, I don't know, whatever. You go learn a skill set. Then you go, hey, everywhere you go, hey, listen, do you want to learn this? I can teach you that. You teach me Spanish.
Exactly.
If I can live at your house, I'll teach your kids English. I mean, there's so
There are so
it's
many
limitless.
ways.
It's mind-boggling.
If you sit down and you think about it for just a second, like you can come up with a way.
Yeah.
You can come up. Okay, I'll tell you. Do we have time? Can
Yeah.
I tell you a quick story?
Go for
Okay.
it, go for it.
So this was the moment that I stopped helping people figure out how to make money online. Okay. So this girl comes to me and she's like, I want to travel like you, like but I can't figure out how to do it. And I'm just like, no worries, girl, I got you. I'll think about it. What are you interested in? She's like, cosmetology. Okay, I'll think about it. I'll give you a call.
Yeah.
This idea hit me like a couple days later. I was like, oh, I've got it. I know exactly how she can make money online. And I called her up. I was like, hey, are you sitting down? Like, I was just like pumping it all up, you know. Like,
Right.
I figured it out. I've got your idea. Never gonna say that again, right?
Yeah.
But I told her, and she's like, oh yeah, cool. It's the greatest idea ever. But that idea, it wasn't hers. It was me telling. Now looking back at it, I would do it differently. I would kind of work with her, and even though I have the idea in my head, I would help her bring that idea out of herself and be like, oh, I could do this. So the idea was, she's so she cuts hair, and I'm like, why do you love cutting hair? And she's like, well, I love helping people feel confident about themselves in like a new style when they want to try out a new style, right?
Yeah.
And so my idea was like, okay, well, when I want a new style, I don't know what to do with my hair. Like,
Yeah.
I have no idea what to do with it. I don't know what's going to look good with my head shape, and I'll go into a barber and I've got like 10 seconds to tell him real quick, like, yeah, I've been thinking about this style. And he'd be like, okay, cool. and so like, it'll be like, yeah, cool, like we can do that, but your sides aren't long enough, for example.
Right.
Like, you can't do that. So I was like, okay, you have an online hair consultant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant, you know?
Yeah.
Have an online hair consultant who you can send pictures to them and be like, you pay them like, I don't know, $20 and be like, hey, this is what I look like right now. I'm going for a new style. What do you think I should get? And she'd be like, boom, consult them.
Yeah.
New hairstyle, $20, boom. You know,
Yeah.
fast, easy.
Yeah.
So you can find a way. That's pretty much where I'm going with that.
Yeah,
Like, you can find a way.
I mean, yeah. And I wish that we had more time, because I've talked to so many people that are like, oh yeah, here's how I'm making money right now. I'm like, wait, what? You're doing that? Like, yeah. I make a good living at it. I'm like, really? Or they're like, oh, I don't make any money, but I get my food and board.
And that's all you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, I mean, right now, I mean, I don't know if your audience is younger or like a little, I don't know.
16 to 30.
Okay, cool.
Primarily.
Yeah. There's pretty little risk right now. Like,
Yeah.
if you've got your necessities covered, like food and you've got a place to stay, there's not a lot of risk. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
Take the risk. If you've got like some kind of fallback, I mean, take the risk. It is so worth it.
Yeah. I love that. Well, we're out of time, but Calvin, thanks for being on the show, man.
That
I
was
love
awesome.
it. That was awesome. I love that.
That was
That was a great great chance to dig into your mind a little more. And actually, I didn't. There was a lot of things I didn't really know about.
Interesting.
Some of those stories I'd never heard any of those. Yeah, it's kind of fun. So,
Yeah.
well, guys, that's the wrap. So we'll see you on the next podcast. Thanks for listening.